We welcome you into yet another edition of the Line Country Kia Goon and Ironhead Show on a beautiful Tuesday afternoon here in the Valley of Happiness as we continue to work our way through the stellar brackets that are the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship. Halfway home here with the Final Four, and it is going to be interesting, and obviously we'll see how everything plays out tonight. But as of right now, for all of the chaos, and there was lots of chaos, right, we could end up with 3 1 seeds and a 2 seed in the Final Four. Not exactly earth-shattering stuff. Now, again, I certainly understand all of the upsets that occurred and all of the things that have happened along the way to make this a fascinating and intriguing tournament. But if you went chalk, right, there's a chance here. And again, we'll see how it plays out tonight. There's a chance that you would have had, if you went pure chalk, you'd at least have 3 of the 4 Final Four teams still in your particular bracket. And Houston's kind of an interesting one just because, I think rightfully a 2 seed, but even now I was reading through some of the comments from some of the experts, the college basketball experts, and there's a lot of them that still aren't sold on Houston. And I know, it's one of those things, and it happens in the wrestling tournaments a lot too, and in tennis tournaments, right, where you see somebody that unexpectedly, maybe gets to the semifinals or the finals of an event.
Wow.
And you look at the path there and it's like, well, yeah, they didn't face any of the top seeds. Well, right. But they faced the teams that beat the top seeds. Like there's still, like, you don't just get given, the fact that you didn't wrestle the 3 or the 4 seed because they both lost to a 12 and a 13 seed, and then you beat the 12 and 13 seeds, right? I mean, it doesn't discredit the accomplishment. The old cliche, you beat who's in front of you, and that's what Houston has done. But that being said, right, from a consistent dominating type of performance throughout the course of the season, they have not faced a team to this point that had that type of a season. And so, there are questions still surrounding the Cougars. And ultimately, so what? If you're a Houston fan, right? Yeah, question all you want. We're here and 2 wins away from winning a national title. So,
well, they got to play the big boy now, man. I mean, they played 4 double-digit ranked teams and seeded teams. So, you can sit there and say, well, they're not. But you're right. You got to win what you got to win, and they won those games. I think Rutgers crapped that game away, in my opinion. I watched that one. That was bad coaching on Rutgers' part. But whatever I say out there, if anybody's listening, do exactly opposite of what I say. Trust me.
That's always my advice.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm watching Baylor last night, and they're pretty damn good, man. So I'm like looking at Houston. Okay, Houston's got to step up. They're finally playing one of the big boys, and now we're going to see how it plays out. But tonight's games are pretty damn fantastic. I'm looking forward to tonight's games
for sure.
I think that your Gonzaga team that you wanted out early, this will be their toughest test of the season by far. I was touting how good the Pac-12 was going into the tournament.
Sure, you knew all along. Nobody would question it.
Oh, man, but USC has got some big boys inside, and they can handle Gonzaga's big boys, and that's how they're really and they got some team speed and team size at USC. So
yeah, I think that's just going to be a fun game to watch, right? If you don't have a vested interest, you can just sit back and to me, of all of the games, even going into the Elite Eight here, that's the one that just kind of stood out as, I want to see how this one plays out. And Gonzaga is, certainly not the Cinderella anymore as they were years ago. I mean, they've consistently been right there with the big boys, and this year have been just phenomenal. from start to almost finish here. And we'll see, again, as you said, a big test tonight. But it does feel like, to me, and again, take all your money and go USC if you're smart here. It just feels to me like this is kind of finally their time to take the whole thing.
They got to do it first. They got to prove it to me first. That's how I feel about it.
No, I hear
the tournament. You. And by the way, Mike, the email mailman has 3 of he has the possibility of getting 3 of the top of the final 4 teams. So, Mike the mailman.
Did he go all chalk, or did he with the 1 seeds, or
I think he had Houston in there, and he had Baylor. They were good calls, but he has Gonzaga winning it. So the mailman, even though he cut it out of the USA or the Altoona Mirror and filled it out on paper, which was still funny to me, he's putting us all to shame. So
do what you got to do.
Long in the tooth is what he is, and he's a smart man.
Whatever works, man.
Yeah,
whatever works.
I guess we got the whole weekend to talk about. So we were talking before the show about UCLA's game against Alabama. What a freaking game that was. Hit that shot to put it in the overtime, and then you figure UCLA is done after that. You know, Alabama would have all the momentum, and, man, they absolutely humiliated them in overtime. And that's why UCLA scares me a little bit with Michigan. But Michigan's riding. They're playing really well also. Playing great, actually, right now. Best they have played all year. And I don't know. I don't know if I'm a Juwan Howard guy or not still. Still not sold on him. I don't know if I like him or I don't like him.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's Michigan. Can't do it.
I'm kind of with you on that, truth be told.
Yeah, so, I mean, other than just, it's been a fun tournament. Very good tournament.
Has been.
So we're Jim Harbaugh. I'm sorry, Jim Boeheim. Jimmy Boeheim was great for us. Oh, my God. We were laughing before the show about my pick of, Larry Izzo's going to win at least 2 or 3 games. Jim Boeheim stinks. He's not going to win anything. Complete opposite. This may be my worst tournament of all time, Ironhead.
Well,
that's saying something.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm not sure it actually is for me. Because
that's saying something.
History has not been kind.
What do you got?
To yours.
So you had Gonzaga out early.
No, in all honesty, I actually did not even get in a poll this year. And it wasn't even. Some years I have tried to shy away, and I'm still playing 1 or 2, but not intentionally. I just, to be honest with you, I think what happened, I just was so fired up and focused on the wrestling tournament this year and trying to get everything ready to go and accomplish out there. I truthfully never even thought about the fact, usually it occurs to me at some point on that Wednesday before the wrestling tournament, oh my gosh, and I'm making calls back and forth and fill out my bracket at the here or there. And I just it never even dawned on me this year. So I've been kind of screwing around. I did not have my bracket accurately filled out. It's nice when you don't have a bracket to say, oh, yeah, no, this is what I would have had. Clearly, these were going to be the final 8 teams. So, no, I've been screwing around with Gonzaga.
Personally, I very much like how they did the setup this year. So, if you think about it, it went Friday through Monday. That was good, okay? But that's usually Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So, they went Friday through Monday. But I like how they did the second round, and that is they waited until Saturday, and then you could watch all 4 games. Because usually those 4 games are played on the Thursday before, and there's 2 games on at 7, 2 games on at 9:55. And I never understood that because you want to maximize the eyes on the games, and they finally did that by having all 4 games on Saturday, all 4 games Sunday, and both games last night, both games tonight. I like how I'm going to say it's a COVID-related issue. That's why they did it, because there's no way in hell the NCAA made that assumption and said, oh, this is a lot better way to do something, and listened to somebody and actually did it. So I'm just going to say it's a COVID-related issue. But I like how they do it because, again, you watch all the games, and where in years past, there was days where you wanted to watch the UCLA Michigan State game, but you had another game on for that. I guess that the channels, you can watch every game you want with all the channels they have rocking now, but you still want to watch a lot of the games. So they maximize the eyes on each game this year, I think.
Yeah.
Good job, NCAA.
Yes. For one of the
maybe that'll
times.
be one of those Greenberg things, like you said, that may
may
hook on because of how it went through COVID and how it went, how it's going
I would
forward.
like to see that remain. I'm with you. And even it's harder. I don't know. Maybe I'm just I'm becoming the old fuddy-duddy that I used to make fun of when I first got into sports broadcasting. But I will say, in all honesty, as a guy now in his early 50s and and a family man with a 5-year-old at home, I will say that the late kickoff, even the Monday night games, Monday Night Football, I'm talking about, they are killers for me. And I'm a diehard enough of a Steelers fan and just stubborn enough that I'm determined to stay up on those Monday nights.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is a battle, and it's only the Steelers games I stay up for anymore. Even if there's a great game that I'm really interested in, not involving the Steelers, I can't. I have too many other things going on. And if I was intelligent, I wouldn't be staying up to watch the Steelers games on those Sunday or Monday nights either. Again, just too much going on with the work schedule and with family life. But on the East Coast, right, these college games that are tipping off after 9 o'clock. I need the games to be over by 9, man. You can't be tipping off at 10 o'clock and expect me to be staying up to watch this.
You're preaching to the choir, bud.
It's just
I fell asleep before the end of that game.
I was long gone. I mean, it wasn't even close for me, and so
you got the
nice thing
game
about
and you
the Saturday, and again, it's tough just during the weeknights. Anyway, even at good time 7 o'clock games, it's just tough trying to juggle everything and still make time for that. And I'll usually at least have it on. Might not be glued in the way I once was, but I'm at least paying attention to, what's happening and at least aware of who's winning and, if somebody's on a big run or whatever. But the Saturday situation, right? And it's, there's no time where there isn't demands on your time, but those Saturdays and Sundays, right? You can adjust your schedule a little bit easier for a lot of people. And I just think in terms of, to your point about getting eyeballs in front of the TV set, I haven't seen the ratings. I have to think that the ratings are, and I got COVID's a contributing factor here, but give me 4 straight games on Saturday in terms of, I'm talking from an advertising standpoint now versus, 4 clumped together back to back on a Thursday night.
Doesn't it?
It's just tough. And again, same thing. I can stay up on a Friday night or a Saturday night a lot easier than I can on
if your parents let you.
A Monday or a Thursday. If my parents, well, that's the other thing. In all honesty, I genuinely think it is part of, and I don't know how big or small of a part, but I think part of the problem that baseball has had with this younger generation is the number of games that they're night games. And right when we were growing up, baseball was the one, it was a constant over the summer, and we had night games, obviously, but man, you had the doubleheaders on the weekends, you had all kinds of day opportunities to watch baseball, and it helped cultivate baseball is just kind of part of that sports experience growing up. I don't, and there's all kinds of contributing factors. I part of it is I bemoan the fact that we are getting away from what I think is part of what makes baseball so charming and great, which is that the element of time is not a factor. It's the one sport where it could go on for, in theory, for days. It depends until you get the 27 outs, or if there's extra innings until somebody gets the win. And I loved that. Even as a kid, I just thought that was the coolest thing about that sport. And now everything, man, we have an hour for this, we have an hour for that. I can't allot more than the and again, part of it with baseball though, right? So part of that issue now is just what we were talking about. Well, if that game's going to extra innings at 10 o'clock on a weeknight, bye. I mean, I might be intrigued, but I gotta get some sleep, man. Yeah. And even if I want to stay up, I'm just too tired to do it half the time. So that's part of it too. Is again, you're losing the opportunity to keep fans glued in there.
You might be too young to remember the Pirates in a World Series game.
I do remember, although it seems like the
Phillies in 80-83. I know they had day World Series games. Think about that.
Oh yeah.
Now you're playing them at 9:07's first pitch now. Back in the day, they're playing at 3:15 in the afternoon. Like that would never happen nowadays. Ever, ever, ever happen.
Which is, when you think about it, again, getting eyeballs in front of the set, right? That would be a better situation where you're getting all areas of the country and all demographics with the opportunity. Again, I get it, and part of it is that all of these, it's a more competitive field. There's, we grew up in an era where there were not many games on TV, and when they were on TV, that was it from a sports standpoint. I mean, there might have been one or two options on a Saturday afternoon, but over the summer, I mean, it was it was the game of the week, Major League Baseball game of the week, and it was a big deal.
Yes,
man. It was it was cool because you got to we get to see George Brett today. Awesome, this is going to be great. Wait, we get to watch the Dodgers.
Jim
today?
Rice.
This is so cool, and so it was a different era in many different ways.
Yeah. Now it just seems you have the same teams on every Sunday night and Thursday night on ESPN's.
And listen, to a large extent, and it was that way. I mean, to a large extent, right? I mean, the Red Sox were a big deal. Obviously, the Yankees were Reds when I was growing up were featured. It seemed like all the time, but you did get. Yeah, you got a sample throughout the course of the season of everybody, and again, it was just it was fun, but it felt like it was a bigger part of the culture. And again, I get the part of it is other sports have done a better job of carving out their opportunity in the marketplace here. So now you're competing with a bunch of other sports and for that matter, other entertainment. I mean, again, we grew up with 3 or 4 TV stations now. I mean,
you're a good conversation right now because I have
25 or 30.
I got some stuff for you right now.
You start to get mesmerized by the options that are out there.
Yeah,
and just to stay on the old fuddy-duddy road that I'm on. How is it that we, honest to God, have as many options as we have now, and there are nights where there's not a doggone thing on any of them that I actually want to tune in
pretty funny.
And watch? It's truly unbelievable, and that's happened a couple of times just in the last couple of months where I'm flipping through. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, I'm a big sports fan. There has to be something here, sports or entertainment. Like, I have a fairly varied interest in entertainment too. There is absolutely nothing here.
Nothing
that is
on
of
regular
any
television I
interest
watch
to
now.
me. So
I watch whatever.
Yeah.
So I got to go back. I got to say this. You're talking about day games and night games and how you were growing up. What's the greatest sporting moment in the history of the United States?
The 80 Olympics.
And that wasn't on live television.
Hockey. Yeah. Oh,
that's the funniest thing to me.
Absolutely.
It was on tape delay that there was like 4,000 people who actually saw the game live.
Yeah.
But 900,000 people claimed to have been there live. You ever think about that?
And what was amazing was, again, this is prior to kids out there. So what are these two old guys talking about? There was a time where we actually didn't even have cell phones, and it actually wasn't even that long ago. So not only was it not live,
you didn't know,
but it wasn't like there was a ticker coming across the TV and all of the stations had, hey, just so you know, the U.S. won. You might want to tune in. It was you were tuning in. 99% of the country was tuning in, not knowing the result hours after it had occurred, and watching it on the tape delay, which is funny. Equally amazing in the context of today's era.
And there's another thing that's funny to me is that people don't talk about is the rural satellites that were like just my wife, born in 1980. They had a big satellite dish out back. She's a Cubs fan. That's one of the games, WGN. And there's a bevy of New York Met fans.
No question.
And then in the 80s and in the 90s, the Braves became sort of America's team because they were on every night on your cable station that you had. Even in the cities and the rurals, but it was always fun. There's a 3-2 pitch to Chipper Jones.
Yes,
oh, yeah. But it's just funny how the television has, the satellite, the television, and all that stuff has been just so updated in the last 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
I mean,
it truly
they used to black out NFL games, and they still do if they don't sell out. It's just crazy to think about that. There are places where teams can't watch their home teams because they don't sell out.
Well, and there were times when, a lot of times, right? When
you wanted to watch the big game and you couldn't.
We're coming up. Well, Penn State football, I mean, throughout the 80s, I mean, it was a huge deal when Penn State was on TV. It was like, if you were really lucky, maybe 4 times a year.
Yes.
And every now and then you'd get
Keith Jackson and the guy from the head coach of Arkansas.
You'd get Frank Broyles.
Frank Broyles and Keith Jackson doing a game in the mid-80s.
Yeah.
But is there a place in Phillipsburg, Osceola, that was a motel that had a different satellite and got all the Penn State games on?
That I don't know.
There's a whole crew of people who would literally go rent rooms at this motel in Phillipsburg because they would get the Penn State games on most of the time.
Huh.
And it's really crazy. I got to find that one out. I definitely will find that. I have homework again. Did you do your homework? So, it's good conversation, but let's get back to your wheelhouse, Ironhead.
Yeah.
Did I hear Stevenson's not wrestling this weekend?
I don't know. I saw a headline, but he is listed on the
he's ranked.
Yeah, well, and he's listed in the matchups. And to be honest with you, I was just looking at the matchups this morning, and I had seen I thought a headline about that, but then I'm looking through the matchups, so I'll have to see if I can find what his ultimate decision, because there are some guys that aren't. Obviously, Spencer Lee had come out earlier, and with the ACL issues that he's having, did opt out. Again, Stevenson is seated second and is listed, which again, I mean, you obviously have right up until the moment before the tournament to pull out. I'm just looking at the updated seedings here, and he's still on there.
He's still on there, but he was tweeting out about he was going to be the WWE guy, and he signed a contract with them.
Yeah.
So if he had done that, if he had signed a contract with WWE, is he officially can't be an Olympian, correct? The new,
that's a good question. Anymore, I honestly I don't know either, because so much of that stuff has now changed. I honestly I don't know what the answer is there. That one I will look into, because
homework.
Stevenson's future, I think, is unquestionably in WWE. I mean, he's talked about it a lot. Yes, and he loves the theatrics of it. And listen, he is a phenomenal athlete. I mean, obviously, if you saw the cartwheel into the backflip after he won the finals for a heavyweight, That is not your typical reaction. 25-pounders maybe, but heavyweights, that's not typically what you're
I got
seeing.
to work on that for my post-Anderson victory, cartwheel, backflip.
Yeah. Definitely have to work on that.
I got to work on that for that victory lap.
Well, real quickly, while we're there, I just did want to go through some of the seeds here if you haven't seen them for Penn State. And again, the trials are this Saturday, not at the Bryce Jordan Center.
It's so disappointing.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm glad that they, because fans, general public wasn't going to be able to get in here, at least not.
Oh yeah, but I'm saying
in any great numbers. Yeah, but I'm really glad that they gave Penn State the 2024 trials, because that is, it's one thing to miss out, right, and have it truly be postponed. And again, disappointing because some of these guys won't be in the mix in 2024.
They're in Austin, right?
Correct.
Any
this
fans?
Year. So, yes, but very limited, from my understanding anyway. But so Saturday is the Olympic trials, and, Penn Staters and Nittany Lion Wrestling Club members up and down the lineups. And there are some intriguing, you're going to have Jason Nolf and Vincenzo Joseph meeting in the opening round of this thing, which is neat on one hand, but also a tough deal.
Did I see
for
Bo's
both
fighting
of those guys?
Wrestling Scarachi too?
And yeah, Bo Nickel will have Carter Starachi out of the gate as well. And again, it's both neat and a tough deal for those individuals. And listen, I mean, that's what. One of the most disappointing things remains to me, and I get it. I am grateful that we have wrestling in the Olympic Games, that got resolved. But having 6 weight classes is just absurd in the Olympics. You are consolidating, and it's not just in the U.S. I mean, obviously, I'm interested from it in the U.S. perspective. And it is ridiculous in the U.S. perspective, because you have guys who are world champions, world medalists at consecutive weight classes, and now they are having to battle for an opportunity to represent in one weight class, and it's just not.
So they go from 10 to 6.
Yeah, and it's just not. If anything, they should be expanding the opportunities. It should be 12 opportunities in the Olympic Games, in my humble opinion. And again, it's not just the U.S. I mean, the countries that are, invested in freestyle wrestling, Iran and Iraq and Turkey and Russia. I mean, it's not fair to the individuals in those countries to again consolidate the amount of talent that is there into 6 weight classes when all throughout their lives, right? It's at least 10 weight classes, and including world championships, and that's
all right. I got some questions for you.
That's a big problem that the IOC continues to not address, and I suspect they won't be anytime soon.
All right, question time. So you have all these Russians, the Kazakhstans and Uzbekistans and Iran, Iraq, Turkey, which are historic, absolute powers in Rome in wrestling.
Yeah.
Okay. How come none of those guys come to the United States for college? I mean, is there a collegiate or a junior circuit over in those countries?
There's a couple of things.
Like the basketball players, they'll come here.
Yeah,
the great hockey players would sometimes come to college here, or juniors here.
There have been some that have, not many, and I think there's a couple of things in play. Most predominantly is the fact that in America we wrestle folk style, and it is a lot of these skills translate very well from one to the other. There are certainly some important differences, and if you grow up with one style, no matter what it is, and it's why, for a long time, I think it was at least a contributing factor to why the United States struggled to do well consistently in international wrestling is, again, a lot of these kids were growing up only wrestling folk style. Now, that has changed over the years, too. Even when I was coming through, I mean, this was in the 80s, but freestyle was certainly available, and we had kids in the state high program that were certainly taking advantage of it and competing in it. But it wasn't, what we were taught in the elementary level was folk style. And, I at least wasn't even exposed to freestyle until I got into high school. But and I was certainly nowhere near an elite wrestler or thinking that was going to be my future. But even the ones that did, and we had some kids that were really successful in the freestyle circuit, it still was not their point of emphasis. So I think as much as anything, it's that. Because volleyball, I believe, is volleyball no matter where you're at. Gymnastics is gymnastics no matter where you're at, so on and so forth. And again, wrestling, I mean, I can make the argument wrestling is wrestling, but there's some significant differences there. And again, if you're training in those countries with the idea of being an Olympian or being a world champion, right, I think a lot of those kids would look at, well, why this is going to derail my goals there. I'm going to take 6 months a year and at least train partially in this different style that makes no sense to me.
What does Kale want to go with me at?
So
Greco freestyle,
I
flip a coin? Flip a coin.
I think perfectly fine.
I was thinking more of a sumo.
I'm thinking that's your best chance.
My only opportunity.
Let's take a short break here. We'll be back and talk a little bit more about, sorry, Booch, just getting your exercise behind the scenes. We'll talk a little bit more about the NCAA basketball tournament. And
baseball coming up Thursday, baby.
I did want to weigh in on the women's game as well, the Baylor-UConn ending, and we'll kick all of that and more around as we continue after this with more of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show.
Lion Country Kia is offering exceptional deals on your new Kia during Kia's Command the Season event.
We have a nice selection on the 2021 Kia Sportage with various options and prices as low as $26,800, saving you $3,000. Or if you demand big power and towing capacity, slip into one of the 2021 Kia Sorrentos available on our lot, starting at $32,680.
Discover why Kia drivers throughout the area come to Lion Country Kia or visit online at lioncountrykia.com.
Introducing the new dusted Ghost Pepper at Quaker Steak and Lube. 11,700 SHUs of fire dusted on award-winning wings. Try it, or are you afraid of the heat?
He's not getting that car in there.
No, sir.
Hey, look at these two troublemakers.
Johnny, how are you?
Wicked car, is that new?
Yeah, it's a Sonata. Let me park it.
Oh, you're not fitting your car in there.
Chris, stop being a smarty pants, all right? Look who's got Smart Park. Even Bruiser can park it. Just hit the clicker. I can park it anywhere.
Beaver Stadium?
Parked it.
Even the Jordan Center?
Parked it.
Even Medler Field?
Even Bruiser parked it.
Hey, you can't park there.
He's got Smart Park!
Wicked smart.
Blaze Alexander Hyundai. It's wicked smart.
And we are back here at Quaker Steak and Lube, the place to be in State College to watch all the great sports action. Had the Penguins and the Flyers both victorious last night, dear Goon.
Woo!
Quite a night for Pennsylvania hockey fans.
So actually some not disturbing news, or just I don't know. I don't know what the hell's going on in Philadelphia with the Flyers right now. So they waived Shane Gostisbehere. The rumor is that it is to make some room for a big trade they're making for a big defenseman coming into town. There is a picture out there of a Flyers practice today that Gostisbehere was cut after the practice, but the coach wasn't there, nor was Claude Giroux in the team circle. So a lot of stuff swirling down in Philadelphia on Broad Street. But I did watch that game last night in between, halftime of the game. I turned it over, watched the first period, and was disgusted at the Flyers, how bad they are playing. And watched the second period. I could not believe how bad they are playing. And down 3-0 to literally a team that has a 15-game losing streak.
Is that what it's up to? I was going to
14
say,
or 15.
by far the worst team in the NHL
easily
this year.
And the Flyers scored 3 in the third period and then won the game in overtime. Just one of those, like, you got to save face. Yeah, save face wins.
Great win.
But I don't know. I don't know if getting rid of the coach and this and that, because they've now did this 3 or 4 times with this team and this core, this nucleus of a team.
Yep.
I don't know. I think they may have to blow it up. And I for one am a big Claude Giroux fan. You would love him if he was on your team. You hate him as an opposing player.
Correct on both counts.
Guy drives me crazy is Voracek. He's just so talented.
Yeah.
But literally all he is worried about is his offense, and it just drives you absolutely nuts. And then the defense is so young; they just turn the puck over too damn much.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. Some good might be coming out of this. I hope that they're not sellers right now going into the playoff run. I hope they pick up a good defenseman and get Carter Hart some time and to get his head straight. Coach says he needs to work a little harder. Oh.
Penguins are getting me fired up. I will say I'm I'm starting to get into that part of the season where I'm like, yeah, I think they might be able to do it.
Can't wait for them to rip your heart out.
This is exactly what has happened here in the last few years. So we'll see how it all plays out. But always still
a few more games between the two boys. Teams going at it.
Always fun to get into the postseason when it comes to NHL hockey. Just nothing quite like the hockey playoffs.
The question is getting into the postseason.
Well, for sure.
For one of the teams right now.
For sure,
you guys just jumped into 2 right now. The Flyers are in 4th.
Big part of the equation, no doubt about it.
Driving me a little crazy right now.
Yep. That's a big deal for sure. And again, once you're in, anything can happen.
You got to worry about, Thursday starts baseball, so you got your what's
really fired up about the Pirates this year, Goon. I
over under 50
hits for the entire season.
That's funny.
Yeah, I'm not very high on my beloved Pirates. And God bless. I mean, they are doing everything they can to sell, the youth and the excitement, and maybe they'll win me over, but they got a ways to go.
I'll have the number for you Friday or Thursday. For Thursday show, we'll have the number for total wins.
This preseason success is not it's not getting me to buy in. I will say that with the Pirates. Also, should talk about the NFL adding the 17th game. I don't know. I know some players are now speaking out against it and not happy with it. And
you know who's happy?
Cutting the preseason, I think that had to happen, right, to allow this. It does. It feels. I don't know what your thoughts are. It feels to me like this just reinforces in my mind that it is all lip service when the NFL says
absolutely
that the health and safety of its players are the top priority. For people that don't know, and I would have been one of those for as much as I think I'm in the know. When and I think I've talked about this before, but when I was doing I was producing for KDKA Radio in Pittsburgh for a year. This is back when Jerome Bettis was playing for the Steelers, and I got to produce his show probably 4 or 5 times anyway during the season. And Bettis would do that show on, if I'm remembering right, and I think it was a Tuesday night. And I'm telling you, the way he would hobble into that studio, and then to hear him tell the stories about trying to get up Monday morning after a game, he's like, I can't do it. Like, it literally took him half hour, 45 minutes from when he started to try to get up, to actually get up, because your body just gets so beat up. Listen, again, to do that to yourself 16 times over the course of a season, And now to again, on one hand, I think a lot of fans and media are going to say, oh, one more game for all the money you're making. Man, I still don't think. I think the move from 14 to 16 was not good for again, the safety, the health, the well-being of the players. I think 14 was a really good number because that's a lot of games at a really high level of violent collisions over and over. Now, that being said, I'm part of the problem because I'll be tuning in all 17 weeks and I'll be passionately rooting for my Steelers. And so they're going to get out of it. The owners and the league are going to get out of it exactly what they're wanting to get out of it.
And they paid the players, we'll pay you one more week. And
yeah,
I mean, that's how the players were bought. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, the ones who were complaining are the big, heavy hitters who have the big money contracts who are going to get paid no matter what. So you tell a guy, a third-year offensive lineman making minimum wage, you're going to give you another $125,000 to play one more game.
Well,
you're going to play one more game,
and
and they're the ones who voted for it.
Yeah, and there's no way that you'll ever be able to prove one way or another the veracity of my statement here, but I truly believe for a lot of players, and I don't even know what I mean by a lot. I don't. 20 to 30% of the players anyway. If we had let's go back to the 14-game schedule versus 17-game schedule. I truly believe that 25 to 30% of the players would have at least another year of their career added, if not for those now 3 extra games. Again, it's not so. There's a couple of things in play, right? I mean, every week, and I get it. You can get injured in the preseason. You can get injured in practice. You can get injured. That is all true.
You can get injured driving to the game.
But you now have 3 more opportunities to get injured on, and I'm going, again, all the way back to the 14-game schedule. But so even going from 16 to 17, you now have 1 more opportunity each season to get injured in a game, right? So you're adding that possibility by that amount during the course of the season. But the other part of it is the wear and tear that puts on your body. It's not, and again, I get it, and injuries happen every week of the season, first right through the 17th. But what I'm telling you is that I don't even know that necessarily more players are going to get injured on week 17 versus 16 versus 10, but what I'm telling you is that the body is wearing down. Now, everybody else's is also. So, I mean, the collisions are by minuscule amounts getting, maybe less violent because everybody's losing a little bit of a step. Everybody's losing a little bit of a pop over the course of, again, that season. But, again, over time, it takes its toll on you physically and mentally, right? And, again, I get it. They're paid millions. They love the game. I truly understand all of that. I would have loved to have had the opportunity, all of that. But you're talking about careers that are already really short, right? I mean,
no doubt.
3-4 years is a significant career in the NFL. Not a lot of guys, we all think of the Tom Brady's and the Ben Roethlisbergers and the Drew Brees. Most of these guys are in it for 2 or 3 years. The guys that are good enough to make it are in it for, certainly 4 years or less. The overwhelming majority of guys.
Yeah.
Well, if it's 10% of those players that would have had 4 years now have 3 because of the extra game, right? Yeah, you got the extra game check for those 3 seasons, but you just lost out on, whatever it would be, 14 more, because again, your body can't withstand that type of punishment for that length of time. And I don't know. I think it's short-sighted on both the league and the players' parts. And again, that being said, I will be glued to the TV and enjoying every second of it. So
you are 100% correct when you say that it's complete BS that the owners and the people up top are worried about the players' health by adding a game. It's complete bullshit. It's total.
Yeah.
The only people winning in that situation are 32 NFL owners. No doubt about it, because they're going to get their 10 home games a year, whether they be, your 8 or 9 home games.
Yeah.
If you're given 9 home games in a regular season, I guarantee you're only going to get 1 preseason home game. So it's going to average out. They're going to be exactly 10-10. And we've talked about this before. In the preseason, they make your season ticket holders buy those tickets to those preseason games. You have to buy them. So they are getting that money. That is 100% profit for them, because they're paying Ben Roethlisberger $2,000 a week during the preseason. They're paying 80 guys $2,000.
Yeah.
So it's $160,000. That's what their salary is costing. That's a drive for Ben Roethlisberger during a regular season game. You got to think about that. Now you add in the people aren't going to preseason games. Okay, so they know that. So they're losing the revenue at the gate. They're losing the revenue at the food and the alcohol, aka beer. So now you put a real game out there that means something. It's going to be a full stadium. Everybody's going to have 3 or 4 beers, and the money is just going to pile in. And for them to say it's about player safety is complete crap. It's about money for the NFL owners, 100%. And the players felt they do it all the time, because they don't have longevity. They don't have 3, 4, 5, 6 years. You only have a certain amount of time to make money in the NFL. And somebody says, "Hey, we're going to give you 1/18 or 1/16 more."
Yeah,
in your
you're
contract.
wanting to capitalize.
But that's it. They're going to say yes.
Yeah,
because they have to capitalize on that time, because it's such a short time, and the NFL owners know that. But they can play all they want. Oh, we're worried about player safety. We're worried about this. Yeah, you don't. You're worried about one thing. You're a billionaire trying to become a trillionaire.
Yeah,
that's the bottom line.
Couple things, just real quick here. The UConn Baylor women's game. That if you've been watching or listening to sports TV or radio today, can't really seem to get away from the conversation around the shot at the end of the game. I don't know. Was it? I think about 4 seconds left or so, and Baylor had one of their women went up with a shot, and it did appear that a couple of Kinetic players actually fouled her. That being said, a few things about it, and I don't like anybody's take on it that I've heard today, because there. And at the end of the day, it's just this is what happens with every game. There are calls, and at every level of sports, there are calls that you disagree with. Mm-hmm. Some are more meaningful, some are more impactful. Officials are doing their best, but man, they screw it up. See the Sam Licklater situation in the Penn State Indiana game, those many years ago at Rec Hall, and it still eats at you. So I mean, I get it. And Houston Oilers fans with the Steelers, Penn State, Nebraska. I mean, you can go back through, and there are games that just stand out decades later because of an official's call or non-call. And this will be one of those games, certainly for the Baylor program in particular, and True. I suspect for UConn as well. Here's the thing. The couple of things that I've heard that just are driving me crazy. One is, don't leave it up to the officials. Take care of your business. And Baylor had some possessions earlier that they didn't take advantage of. Okay, fine as far as it goes. And yes, all great teams, all great athletes want to do that, right? But if you're facing another great team, right, like you can't always execute. And again, that's to my point, is the officials can't always execute. Like they're out there trying their best, but it's the end of the game. They're a little fatigued too. I was listening to, I think it was ESPN this morning, that they were like, well, the one official was out of position. And I don't even know if that's true. I don't know. I'm not enough of a basketball aficionado myself to be able to tell you that official should have been positioned exactly here, not 3 feet over there. But trusting that is the case, and again, I don't know it to be, fine, but how many times at the end of a game has somebody who's been playing football all of their life jumped off sides? How many times has a baseball player, at a critical part of the game been picked off at first base? Well, you're taught from the time you start playing, don't get too far away from the base. Pay attention to and if you're the Pirates, base running errors, I feel like that's part of what they actually do in their minor league system. They teach that. We don't want you running the bases properly. Just keep running until you get into a rundown is what I think the Pirates teach. So, yes, take care of business and don't let it into the officials' hands. That's a great strategy, great idea. But when you're playing a team like Connecticut, right, the likelihood of you taking control of that game, and it doesn't matter what the officials call down the stretch. So that to me just – I don't know. It just sounds empty and hollow to me because, again, everybody is trying to do that. You don't want the officials' calls to make the difference. That being said, and a couple other things.
But if they did call the foul, the argument would be from the other side then. I mean,
correct.
That's why I say don't put it in. I don't like when you put it in officials' hands and, make a play.
Yeah.
You didn't make a play. Yeah. Don't cry about it.
Well, and here's the other thing. So it's not like there was a guarantee. If it was a goaltending call, maybe.
Yes.
Right? There's no guarantee. We don't know that she was going to make either, let alone both free throws. And then you don't know if Connecticut's going to throw it down. I hate if it wasn't for that call, the result would have been this. In this type of situation.
Welcome to 2021. Because somebody else's fault for everything.
Because you don't know. And also, while I do think it was a foul, and I spent more time watching that in the replay of it than I ever thought I would. I do think it was a foul. I also don't think it was anywhere near as egregious as what the Baylor folks are making it out to be. I think it was oversold by a tad.
I agree.
On the court. So those are my thoughts.
I agree.
Real quickly, tonight, what are we thinking, Goon? So everybody can go out and
I think USC is get a matchup well against Gonzaga.
I do too, but I think Gonzaga wins it. It's a 9-point
game. I think it's a sucker line, to be honest with you. I think people are all going to be jumping over USC, and I think the Gonzaga is going to roll on them. But I could see where USC matches up well against it. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good game. I do. Competitive game, but I do think Gonzaga.
I think that's probably one of the games I'm looking forward to the most of this tournament.
Yeah, and the UCLA,
they're on a mission, dude.
Yeah, they are just such.
So's Michigan, though.
They are such a neat team. UCLA, it just feels like they are one of those teams with the camaraderie and the. I don't know. They're easy to root for, and yeah, you're right. I mean, Michigan's obviously playing very well. Yep. I guess I'm curious to see both of these games. It feels like ultimately
it's yourself a nap.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. I'm not going to make
5-year-old at home. You get a nap? Yes,
I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make it for both.
I love it.
Guaranteed. I'll try. I will be trying tonight because I
do
want to watch
on first.
USC. That is
Gonzaga's on first. I just can't root for Michigan, as you well know.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I'm rooting for you.
I'm not a super huge UCLA fan, but.
But this
blue.
team,
I
don't know.
Blue.
This particular team is kind of winning me over. I would like to see that team in the Final Four. I'm not sure it'll happen.
Point guard looks like Bob Marley. I'm rooting for you, dude. Looks just like him. Well,
we'll talk about the results of tonight's game and much more. We'll talk much more about the Phillies. On Thursday,
real quick,
and other Major League Baseball teams. We might even touch on some minor league.
Is
teams
that wrestling on national television or is that on like an online thing?
It's online.
Is it really?
I don't think. I don't know if the finals are on the that Olympic. Or NBC Sports or anything. I honestly don't know that for sure.
My homework again.
But yeah, the internet is your friend for that event in its entirety. We'll talk to you on Thursday. Until then, be good and be safe.
Lion Country Kia is offering exceptional deals on your new Kia during Kia's Command the Season event.
We have a nice selection on the 2021 Kia Sportage with various options and prices as low as $26,800, saving you $3,000. Or if you demand big power and towing capacity, slip into one of the 2021 Kia Sorrentos available on our lot, starting at $32,680.
Discover why Kia drivers throughout the area come to Lion Country Kia or visit online at lioncountrykia.com.
Introducing the new dusted Ghost Pepper at Quaker Steak and Lube. 11,700 SHUs of fire dusted on award-winning wings. Try it, or are you afraid of the heat?
Hi, Johnny Broom here. If you're in the market for a new Hyundai or a pre-owned car, truck, van, or SUV, nobody beats a Blaze Alexander deal. But don't take my word for it.
Hey, Goon says tell him Johnny sent you.
Hey, tell him Johnny sent ya.
Tell him Johnny sent you.
Wait, tell him Juan or tell him Johnny sent you?
Tell him Johnny sent you.
Here at Bill Pickles Tap Room, we say,
Tell him Johnny sent you.
And remember,